This, as usual, you can never test too much, ever. All right. Hey there, Marnie. Hi, Marnie. Can you hear me?
I can. Hello.
Excellent. Hi. Thank you so much for doing this at the last minute.
No problem at all.
Okay, cool.
And this is not the first time I'm using Zoom. We actually use this for some of the trainings I do for Boise.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
yeah. So
You're
I'm not an
familiar.
expert by any means, but I'm not unfamiliar either.
That's perfect. That is great. I am just going to frame you in the side by side here. Yeah, that's great. You've got great lighting and you're centered nicely. So that's fantastic.
Mhm. Actually, Wine a Tasting course came out a couple of years ago, and that's the book that Jean Charles opened to a page that explained Chardonnay in a way he'd never seen done before with an infographic, and fell in love with it. And that's when they started hiring me actually to do some work for his company. And one of the projects that has grown out of that process is Passion for Wine, which is the new book I have coming out co-authored with Jean Charles. Mhm. Yes, exactly. It's just called Passion for Wine, the French Ideal and the American Dream. Exactly. Although that's a little on the stealth side. We don't advertise down here south of the border that we're trying to take over the whole US, but we are. Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I completely forgot that we're taping this as a teaser, so I feel like I should have put on some makeup, but that's okay. Does it look all right? Okay. Okay. No. Yeah, I have to do the trim thing actually. They try to out overflow their boundaries. Sure. Correct. And you know what? Let me just run in. Just realized I have a copy of the book downstairs, but it's not in front of me. So let me just go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, great. So this is the new one. And this is not my first book. This one was number 4, but it's certainly the most popular and the one that's had the biggest impact. Sure. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, Jean Charles. He's at Provine this week, so he's in Germany right now. Correct. Mhm. Sure. Either one of those works. He and I have a very interesting. We're both very high energy, charismatic speakers, but in wildly different dimensions. I always tell people that I'm a little bit Sesame Street, he's a little bit Sex in the City, and somehow it really works. Hmm. Sure. Hmm. Just making sure my head's not sticking out of the top of the frame there. Forgot to put my lenses in. Hmm. No, it'll be true. Mhm. I'm used to this stuff, don't worry.
When you think about a passion for wine, what comes to mind? Is it a French sophistication or a California energy or maybe both? Well, that's exactly what our next guest blends perfectly in her new book. And she's got a special co author, but she's the one who joins us today. She is an award winning sommelier and writer, author of 3 books. And it's my very great pleasure to welcome to the Sunday Sipper Club Marnie Old, live from her home in Philadelphia. Hello, Marnie.
Hello, Natalie. Lovely to see you.
Great to see you too. Now, we are going to get together this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's Toronto, New York time on the Sunday Sipper Club to talk with both you and your co-author, who is
Jean-Charles Boisset. He's one of the more colorful personalities in the wine business.
He is, and of course, he comes from a wine dynasty of wine producing
Yes.
families for centuries, and of course, he's married to Gina Gallo. But the two of you, you're flying out to California because you've
Mhm.
collaborated on this book. Show us the book if you have it there,
Sure.
please.
It's called Passion for Wine,
All
the
right.
French Ideal and the American Dream.
Ah,
Because as you know, anyone who's ever had to explain wine to a beginner knows France is not the first region to make wine, but it was the first one to focus on quality. And if you understand the story of how fine wine developed in France and then spread from there throughout Europe and eventually to the New World, to regions like California, that story explains so much about what can otherwise be confusing about wine.
I know from your previous books, Marnie, you really have an innovative, creative, energetic spark in terms of how you approach wine. So I can't wait to hear more about this book in particular. So we're going to take the deep dive on Sunday. So we will say goodbye for now, but I look forward to chatting with you more this Sunday, March 25th at 6 p.m.
I can't wait. It'll be a real treat.
Okay, thanks, Marnie.